Israel continues to hit targets in Lebanon days after the killing of the leader of Hezbollah. NBC News chief foreign correspondent Richard Engel has the latest from Beirut.
Israel is widening its war in Lebanon and far beyond it, carrying out its deepest attack overnight in Lebanon's capital in nearly 20 years.
This Israeli strike happened in the middle of the night, and for the first time, it is not in the southern suburb of Beirut, the Hezbollah stronghold in this city, but right in the heart of the commercial district. And that has many people in this city very nervous that now no area is off limits.
Israel is hunting Hezbollah across Beirut and targeting all of Iran's militias in the Middle East. Yesterday, Israel carried out a major strike in Yemen. The port city, now in flames, is under the control of a militia called the Houthis, backed by Iran, and who've been targeting ships in the Red Sea. But Lebanon remains the main focus of Israel's expanding war. Israel said it wants to destroy Hezbollah, the crown jewel in Iran's so-called axis of resistance. New images show the massive crater left by the U.S.-made 2,000-pound bunker-busting bombs that Israel dropped to kill Hezbollah's leader Hassan Nasrallah in Beirut last week. And now Israel is hitting Hezbollah while it's down and in disarray, trying to eliminate every senior and mid-level commander it can find. President Biden was asked Sunday if an all-out war can be prevented.
We really have to avoid it.
But many Lebanese have no faith the U.S. can or wants to stop this. This morning, we visited an office complex now full of families who have just fled South Beirut. Izdahar Al-Fawani told me she thinks if Israel does invade, it will only make Hezbollah stronger because guerrilla war is the group's specialty. Many here remain loyal to Hezbollah, cheering Nasrallah's name as they wait for his replacement to be announced.
Let's bring in White House reporter for The Washington Post, Yasmin Abutaleb, and columnist and associate editor for The Washington Post, David Ignatius. Good to have you both with us.
So David, Israeli strikes in Yemen, Israeli strikes in Lebanon, Israeli strikes going after Iran's proxies, terrorist proxies across the Middle East. It is almost as if Israel is daring Iran to push back. And right now, does it not look like Iran is refusing to take the bait?
So, Joe, Israel is going all the way against every enemy, taking the fight to levels that we've been fearing for many months. And obviously, Israel believes that Iran is worried enough about the consequences of getting involved directly that it's going to mostly stay on the sidelines. We'll have to see. Predictions about the Middle East are notoriously wrong, but that's sure the way it looks now. The destruction in Lebanon following the destruction in Gaza is painful to watch. My strongest feeling is that this is a moment for the United States to help Lebanon regain its sovereignty. With this state within a state, that's Hezbollah, now really crumbling, it's a moment for the United States to provide radically more support for the Lebanese armed forces to take back their sovereignty so they go to the border of Israel. They enforce discipline. They make sure Hezbollah doesn't come back. I feel this strongly because I've been watching Lebanon for 45 years. And this is a moment, as bleak as it seems, when there actually could be that positive outcome if the administration will get serious about it.
David, can you give us some insight on how Israel and how Israel intel services and the IDF, who fared so horrifically on October the 7th, were humiliated in front of the world. Benjamin Netanyahu funding Hamas indirectly for years, telling Qatar to step up. I mean, waiting 12, 13 hours to rescue Israelis that were beaten, savaged, raped by Hamas. What has happened since October the 7th? How has the IDF, how has the Mossad regained their footing in such a way to pull off what can only be called just an extraordinary attack against the leadership of Hezbollah?
So, Joe, I think in part it's the shame and real bitter self-criticism that the Mossad, the Israeli military, all the leadership went through in the aftermath of October 7. I talked to them in those weeks afterwards, and they were crushed and shattered. They knew how their actions, their inaction had betrayed Israel. And they've been struggling to find ever since then, a level of operating precision that can deliver knockout punches to their adversaries. But it begins with a recognition of how poorly they performed in the lead up to October 7. How did they do so badly then when they're so obviously, in an operational sense, brilliant now? That's a puzzle that historians will write about. I want to read that book. But I do know that for many Israeli intelligence officers, and indeed I suspect for the Prime Minister, these have been moments of vindication, justification. We know we failed. This time we're succeeding.
Yasmeen, let's dig into your reporting. Your piece is entitled, in part, U.S. Braces for Potential Iranian Retaliation. What are the possibilities on that front?
So when I spoke with senior officials over the weekend, the different scenarios that they were preparing for, and they cautioned that it was hard to predict exactly what would unfold over the next couple of days. But they said they were preparing for potential Iranian attacks through their proxies on U.S. troops, which we've seen in the region, which we've seen at various points over the last year. They were preparing for direct Iranian missiles into Israel, the way we saw on April 13th. The official I spoke with said before April 13th, they would have been extremely worried about that type of scenario, but that after the April attack, when the U.S. and its allies and Israel were able to strike down the Iranian drones and missiles, that they feel reasonably prepared for that type of scenario. And then the other one is just generally a direct attack from Hezbollah against Israel and attacks from proxies in the region. So they anticipate that something is coming. They're trying to brace for the range of possibilities. But again, they're not sure. And I think the other important note here is that the U.S. has been, or at least says it has not known about what Israel was doing over the last 2 weeks against Hezbollah. They didn't know ahead of time about the pager and handheld radio attack. They didn't know that they were going to launch a strike to take out Nasrallah. So I think they're also a bit unsure of what's coming next, and that they are still cautioning Israel against a full-scale ground invasion of Lebanon.